crazy out there and jumping up and down, while the Russians, on the other hand, are just standing quietly at their own blue line in a group, watching the celebration. And what a celebration it is. What a hockey game. What a game played by Jim Craig and every member of this USA team.
Hi, I'm in a very special place. Section 4, Row I, Seat 7, in the Herb Brooks Arena here in Lake Placid, New York. I was lucky enough to be here with my brother and 8,500 other people on February 22nd, 1980, when the United States beat the USSR in the Miracle on Ice in the hockey game. It was just an incredible experience. A small arena like this. The USSR had just invaded Afghanistan 2 months before that. The energy in this town was palpable. It was incredible. So join us as Wicked Yankee TV bring you stories like this all across the board, all across the region.
Forefather of the sport for us in Lake Placid was Art Devlin. And Art Devlin is known to many people, you know.
Those famous jumpers, Alf Engen and Art Devlin, tell me this may be the winner for the first 600-foot leap on skis, twice the length of a football field.
Speaking of champions, here's Art Devlin of Lake Placid, winner at Bear Mountain, and off for new laurels. His leap of 202 feet, a new record for Norge Hill. If you wonder what this takes besides skill, nerve, and marvelous control, well, it sometimes takes new skis and sometimes worse. But these daredevils have what it takes. To show you how serious ski jumping can be, we'll slow the action down for you this time. Jimmy Larson is the jumper, and when he hits, he gets hurt badly. This could have happened to any of them. Let me repeat, ski jumping takes nerve and a cool disdain for injury.
He's only 12. Your brain is telling you one thing, and you're trying to get your body to do another.
Hi, we're here at Lake Placid at the ski jump with Oleg Glivka, who is originally from the Ukraine and was a Ukrainian Olympian. He has done the ski jump, and his 12-year-old son is doing the ski jump here today.
That's correct.
Oh my goodness. So wonderful. Thank you for joining us at Wicked Yankee TV. Can you tell us what it is like to be here at Lake Placid?
We enjoy to be here because can't find it any better place. It's an Olympic size hill, plastic, year-round program, and not too many places like here in Lake Placid. So Maxim, he's 12-year-old and he's dream big. We was this year going to Colorado, Steamboat. We train in Utah, and right before school we want to use this momentum because this club have a junior camps. We come in to support this program, and we like it to be here.
Kids with courage and hope. You gotta love it. From the miracle on ice
to the amazing 12-year-olds jumping off the 90-meter ski jump in the middle of the summer. Didn't that segment seem to go by fast?
Fast? You want fast? I'll show you fast. Check this out.
Hi, I'm John Lundeen, and I am lucky enough to be the communications director for ORDA. It's known worldwide as the Olympic Regional Development Authority, but I like to simplify it as we're the group that helps to manage and promote all of the Olympic venues from 1932 and 1980. The venue that I'm at right now is the host for the 1932 bobsled competition, and then it was also the host venue for the 1980 bobsled and luge competition. You notice I didn't say skeleton because skeleton wasn't introduced back into the Olympics until 2002 in Salt Lake City. So the track that we have behind me is one of the world's newest tracks. This replaced what was the 1980 Olympic luge course, and in 1999 it was torn down. The luge course was, and then this track was built, and it's called a combined track. So it features sliding, whether it be training or international competition for bobsled, luge, and skeleton. These guys are reaching speeds of up to 88 to 90 miles per hour. They are pulling a G-force in excess of 4. So if you are a 200-pound guy, that means for a moment in time, you are more than 800 pounds going through some of these curves. And you think bobsled is easy, you watch bobsled on TV and you turn to your wife, your kids, your husband and you're like, you know what, honey, I can do that. That looks pretty easy. I will tell you what, it is not as easy as you look. This is an experience sport. It takes years upon years for these athletes to develop and really fine-tune their pushing skills, if they're a pushman or a brakeman, or their driving skills. The drivers, it's a touch and feel. You want to be so relaxed as you're driving these sleds.
Thank you, John, for inviting us here. I can't believe we're actually at the home of the Olympics at Lake Placid. It's fantastic.
I am so glad you're here. You're here in the summertime. You've got to come back in the wintertime, and it's an entirely different experience, and but it's just as breathtaking.
I cannot believe Bucky and I are going to do the bobsled experience.
You know what? Speaking of breathtaking, that's going to be breathtaking.
Yeah, I think it's going to take my breath away. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This is wonderful. I can't wait to do the bobsled. So thank you.
Let's get some helmets on, and let's get you down the track.
Yep.
I can't believe we survived.
That was concrete. That didn't move. And I don't know who was driving, but he did a great job. It was Chris, right?
Right.
Chris. And I want to thank John Lundeen for having us as guests here at a beautiful Lake Placid facility. So we'll have to come back.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, that was the first time I actually got to feel what these Olympians go through, and can't be faint of heart doing that. It's just inches away from death.
Well, thanks a lot.
But I felt safe with the drivers here at Lake Placid.
Well, we're walking on air right now, so it'll be an easy ride home.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you so much.
Today, Wicked Yankee TV travels north to the Rocks Estate and the Rocks, a sustainable Christmas tree farm in Bethlehem, New Hampshire, to meet with Nigel Manley.
Hi, my name's Nigel Manley. I'm the director of the Rocks for the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests. The Rocks is a protected property of 1,400 acres up here in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. On this property, we do wildlife habitat, sustainable farm management, as well as educational programs. And we're the North Country Education Center for the Forest Society. Here on the Christmas tree farm, a few things are happening. One is that we do cut living trees, and people have a hard time with that sometimes. What they don't realize is it's really just farming. It would be the same as growing corn, but then not eating the corn, which would simply not be the wise thing to do for the farmer. So we grow Christmas trees. It does take us 8 years to grow them. We cut them down, and a new tree is already planted by that tree to make it sustainable. So once you cut that tree down, a new one is already growing, which is great. Out here as well, you can breathe deeply because so much oxygen is being produced by those trees. It makes it absolutely ideal and a great environment up here in the North Country. Now we have 1,400 acres. A lot of it is forest land. We only have about 60 acres of Christmas trees, but that's 43,000 trees. So it's quite enough for you to come and pick your own if you would like to come and get one. Out on the trails, we've got 5 miles of trails. You can cross-country ski, snowshoe. You can do everything apart from use motorized vehicles. So you can enjoy this property for hours when you come to visit. Most of our guests that come for trees are here at least 3 hours, so they end up coming up, taking a horse-drawn ride, eating kettle corn, having s'mores at the s'more pit, and then doing their shopping in our American-made gift shop. Okay, so we have all different types of trees here. We have balsam fir, which is the traditional New England Christmas tree. That's the one that when you put it in your house just smells that smell of New England Christmas. We also grow Fraser firs, and Fraser firs are from the Carolinas. A bluer tree, slightly stiffer branch, has a different smell though. It doesn't have that New England scent, but a lot of people really like them. And now we're growing a species called the Canaan fir. It's like a balsam fir, but it grows a little faster, longer needles, and really shapes up well. And if you'd like to come up here to Bethlehem to get your Christmas tree, that would be fantastic, and it'll help the conservation organization if you could do that. I'm Nigel Manley with the Forest Society in Bethlehem.
A beautiful sight, happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland.
Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is a new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland.
In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown.
He'll say, are you married? We'll say no, man, but you can do the job when you're in town.
Later on we'll conspire as we drink by the fire
to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. Him down. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid
the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. Mommy, it's snowing. Merry Christmas.
One of the most remarkable craftsmen we met along our journeys was master glassblower Alex Kalish. He lives in Antrim, New Hampshire.
In the middle of nowhere, in the woods, we found his studio in search of great Christmas ornaments for our tree.
Yeah, we were so thrilled that Alex invited us into the studio to watch him at work.
We got more than the decorations and the ornaments. We got a great story for you.
Yeah, it was beautiful to see the magical transformation that happened with Alex's work.
So watch it with us.
Humans have been making glass for the last 5,000 years. They've been blowing glass for about half that time. A lot of the tools haven't changed much in that time, aside from the materials that they're made out of. The pipes, for example. Nice if I knew where the pipes were. The pipes, for example, these are stainless steel, but they used to be just iron.
Alex twirls his glassblower's pipe into what is called a crucible, a large oven that holds 125 pounds of clear molten glass, heated to an astounding 2,000 degrees. he rolls the burning glob of glass to form the center of the icicle. It's placed now in a second oven called a furnace, where the glass is spun and turned over 2,000 degree heat and the transformation begins. The various pigmentation in the icicle comes from these colorful bars of glass that are melted down into small pieces. These complexly, beautifully colored nuggets are heated on a stove, as the cold glass would not bond to the hot icicle ornament. To speed up the process, he uses a gas torch to prepare the small colored pieces to ensure that they'll stick. After adding more glass to the pipe, he rolls it for the color, slowly turning the rod, then heats it once more to infuse these beautiful hues into what is soon to be a wonderful work of art. Using the diamond shears, a classic centuries-old glass-blowing tool, the ornament magically begins to take shape as it is twisted and turned. The strands are spun deep into the design, creating a wonderful kaleidoscope of color. There is a careful dance of patience and urgency. It's truly a science in knowing exactly what temperature the glass must be worked at. If you look carefully, you can see the glass beginning to cool as he shapes the ornament. It's all in the timing. With now repeated twisting, molding, and firing in the hot-burning furnaces of Alex's glass-blowing studio, the once misshapen molten blob of glass is transformed into a beautiful icicle as we see it come into focus, a Christmas decoration to be passed down for generations to come. And now, with a few final magical flourishes and the help of a gas torch, a hook is created to hang the ornament from a waiting Christmas tree, all from the vision and heart of a master craftsman deep in the woods of New Hampshire.
And I'm on the Fort Ticonderoga ferry, and I work here a couple days a week. It's a really fun job most of the time when it's not downpour raining. And
way back when, in the beginning of time, man made the fire, then the wheel went from a horse to an automobile. He set the world in mind. He took the oceans and the sky. He set the borders, built the walls. He won't stop till he owns it all. And here we are, standing on the brink of disaster. Enough is enough is enough is enough. Put a woman in charge. Put the women in charge. The time has come. We've got to turn this world around. Call the mothers, call the daughters. We need the sisters of mercy now. She'll be a hero, not a fool. She's got the power to change the rules. She's got something that men don't have. She is kind and she understands. So let the ladies do what they were born to do. Raise the vibration and make a better place for me and you. So put a woman in charge. Put the women in charge. Put a woman in charge. Put the women in charge. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We're gonna feel the magic when the girls take over. It's gonna be fantastic. We need more women. Put the women in charge.
Put the women in charge. Time to put a woman in charge. Put the women in charge. That's right. Come on, yeah. Put a woman in charge. Put the women in charge.
In our ever-growing, amazing adventures and travels, we are meeting the most remarkable people and finding truly unbelievable stories.
Tara and I are lucky enough to be adventure journalists with Wicked Yankee TV. We travel the Northeast in search of great stories. Recently, we came upon this small little hamlet in upstate New York in the middle of nowhere, and we found a great story.
Ticonderoga! As many of you know, Fort Ticonderoga is an icon in American history, filled with the most amazing, courageous, and patriotic of heroes.
One of these heroes that you won't find in the history book, however, is one that has the courage and the vision to put a destination that surpasses even Fort Ticonderoga. And little did I know that he was to let me meet one of my real-time heroes now. Tara, what do Elvis Presley and Star Trek have in common?
I have no idea.
Let's watch and find out.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
So here I am at the Star Trek, the original set that you can come and see in Ticonderoga, and a large group of people have come to have that experience, to be on the set of the original series, and they've invited me to come and visit with all the people who came here. So I'm here. I was here last night, on Friday night, and all day Saturday, visiting with some fans. It's been unusual to go back all those years. This is the bridge, and it's these sets are made to order. They're done exactly the way the sets were made, and in fact, they're coming apart in exactly the same way our sets came apart. The wear and tear is exactly the same. It's funny because on the original set, every time I pressed a button, the button would come off. And then we'd cut, and then they glue the button back on. And what's unusual is these buttons are staying. So the glue, they've improved the glue over the years.
I was to ask, what was kind of the emotion the first time you walked into this room and saw how detailed everything was?
I was astounded. Absolutely, it is true to every detail, and it's a thrill, really, a kind of a kick to go back all those years, because that set has been destroyed many times. Every time we finished a year, or when we did the films, every time we finished a film, they would burn the set because they figured that was it, and then there'd be another order for another movie or another year of the series, and they'd rebuild the set. It's phenomenal. The Star Trek is a phenomenon, never seen before, and it's never happened to any other show, and in our lifetime, we will all die before another show proves that it can last 55 years. At least looking around, I think we're all going to die in 55 years.
Bill, I have a question. Wicked Yankee TV, we do a lot of mentoring of heroes. How would you encourage that sense of adventure with the young kids today to get them outside? Because we've heard you had some adventures on the rivers of upstate New York and Lake Champlain.
Yes, you know, the extraordinary advances in electronics, giving us the phone and the cameras and the stuff we all use is a great benefit, but it's also carries with it, like the internal combustion engine, a fateful flaw, and who knows what effect that's going to have on this generation who has phones and apply themselves only to phones, because this setting, and most of you are in one of the most beautiful places in the world. When I was a kid, when I was 18, I paddled a canoe with 7 other counselors at a welfare camp, from a welfare camp in Montreal. We paddled a canoe up the St. Lawrence to the Richelieu River, up the Richelieu River to Lake Champlain, the length of Lake Champlain, portaged over to Lake George, and down the length of Lake George to the headwaters of the Hudson River, and then down the Hudson River to New York City and 72nd Street. It took 8 hardy Canadians, 8 days to make it. And we saw firsthand, of course, we had long since in the Laurentian Mountains seen the beauty of the eastern part of this country and eastern part of Canada. Long since known how gorgeous the autumn and the spring and the summer and also the winter is up here. So yes, we need to have programs to get those kids away from their phones and into some physical activities. Otherwise, the next generation will melt into the snow.
How does a trip like that shape you? It must have, as a young
Made me very muscular.
How about fear? How does it shape
adventure and knowing that you can overcome difficult things, like where are we going to eat and how much are we going to eat and how tired I am, but we've got to keep paddling, and it's cold and it's wet. Those things, when you overcome them, give you a sense of being able to overcome anything. And that's really extraordinary, because playing a game on a telephone or an electronic device can teach you. These are really dedicated people. These are people who either feel they owe a debt to Star Trek because in so many instances, most instances, the people who are here today, who have come here with great effort and great expense, are here because Star Trek is more meaningful than just a television show. They're here because their association with Star Trek led them into the life they're leading now. And in a lot of cases, they're successful doctors, engineers, and quite extraordinary, and came here to pay homage, if you will, to Star Trek because it affected their lives so deeply.
What do you think today's world could use to learn from Star Trek?
We should have had residuals.
On a more philosophical level.
Actually, there's a great deal of philosophy in that. Examine the remark. What does Star Trek have to say? Star Trek was just a television show, but inherent in some of the scripts and in some of the one-line ideas was the science fiction ideal, which is the awe and mystery of the universe, which encompasses both the physical universe and the philosophies involved behind the meaning of the universe.
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go get going, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can do anything but lay home for my blue.
Well, he's a distinguished, enormously powerful person in Ticonderoga. He rules Ticonderoga. At least that's what he's told.
So Jim, being such a huge Star Trek fan and dedicating so much of your time for this, can you tell us how Star Trek has impacted the culture in so many ways that people might not realize?
Well, Star Trek inspired doctors, lawyers, engineers. It inspired a generation of people, 2 generations of people, to grow up and create the things that they saw on television. We have the iPad now because of Star Trek's pad. They had the little digital clipboard. That is now the iPad. It was even called the pad device on Star Trek. The flip phone communicators. Dr. McCoy's hypo became the EpiPen. There are so many different examples of Star Trek impacting our culture today.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So life does imitate art. But these were the dreamers. And the other thing that I thought that you said was very compelling was today, science fiction many times has a dystopia type of view. But with Star Trek, it was hope. It was working together. It was courage that we will forge together to the next frontier.
It was the message of Gene Roddenberry that human beings, aliens didn't come and build the pyramids. Human beings were smart enough to build the pyramids. And if we work together and we put aside our differences, there's nothing that we can't achieve. This whole line of dialogue that you and I are having, it reminds me of a story that Nichelle Nichols tells. She played Lieutenant Uhura.
Right.
She played a woman of color in a position of command at a time when the country was tearing itself apart. You know, we were in Vietnam, we had the Watts riots, we had the civil rights movement. She was going to quit the show because she didn't feel that she was going to get enough screen time. She just wasn't doing enough.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily for us, she attended an NAACP meeting and she was introduced to a fan. The fan was Dr. Martin Luther King. And when
my God.
Yes, and she actually said, well, you know, I'm leaving the show. And he said, you can't, Michelle, you can't. Don't you understand what you represent? Our children are seeing you on TV as an equal for the first time. You can't leave the show. So she stayed with the show. So Star Trek broke a lot of barriers. Imagine watching Star Trek in 1966 and you turn the TV on. Here's Captain Kirk, right? With Mr. Spock, an alien, Lieutenant Uhura, an African-American woman, Mr. Sulu, an Asian, and a Russian, all working together.
You're right. What a wonderful
unthinkable.
Yeah.
I mean, you take it for granted today, but if you think back to what it was like in 1966, Roddenberry took a lot of risks.
That's unbelievable when you look at it that way, and about that is why today, still, everybody is tuning in to Star Trek because it's a universal message of hope, mankind, camaraderie, working together.
Gene Roddenberry's favorite thing was the human adventure is just beginning.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So we put it up there to remind everyone.
All right.
Jim Cawley, thank you so much. On behalf of Bucky Lewis and I and Wicked Yankee TV, we want to say thank you so much. This is a wonderful, wonderful place that you've made for all of America to enjoy. Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And live long and prosper.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
My name is Jamie Bassett, and I just had the nice opportunity to bring out Tara and Bucky out to through Stage Harbor, down Oyster River, through Stage Harbor, and on to the outside of Monomoy to do some fly fishing. And I think we had a great time. It was we spent maybe about four hours out there, and Tara caught her first striped bass on the fly, which is always a great experience. And we were out there thinking how it was a really nice experience and out there in nature. And it was a little foggy, but that's okay. We were able to see some big fish. And Tara caught about a 24-inch fish. And that was an incredible experience. She brought it in really, really professionally, really nicely. And right at the last minute, right when we got right to the leader, the fish spit up the hook and just swam away. But that's okay. We're gonna be back to catch some more. Thanks for coming on this adventure. Je voudrais aussi remercier les gens à Québec et à Montréal. Et j'espère que tout le monde voit le show Wicked Yankee. And in English, I hope that people in Massachusetts, Maine, and New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, Connecticut, New York tune in to Wicked Yankee. This is going to be a great show that touches people's lives, and it's done by real people, and it's going to be really great. So everybody has a story. There are a lot of great little stories in all of our communities, and so I wish you the best.
Bucky, Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. I wait all year long to see the magical transformation that happens when people put up their Christmas trees, the lights are on, everything is decorated. It's a wonderful time of year.
We were lucky enough to be invited by Castle in the Clouds in Moultonborough, New Hampshire to view their Christmas at the Castle event. It was just stunning.
It was so beautiful the way that these decorators came in and transformed each room into a different theme, a different country. It was magical.
No words were needed, so we just put together a music video for you to see. Let's watch.
How'd you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? How'd you like to spend a holiday way across the sea? How'd you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? How'd you like to hang your stocking on a great big coconut tree? How'd you like to stay up late, like the islanders do? Wait for Santa to sail in with your presents in a canoe.
Hi, we're here at Castle in the Clouds with Chef Lisa Sharp, who is going to make a wonderful holiday dish for us. Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So what will you be making for us today?
Well, today I'm going to be making a simple hors d'oeuvre for, could be festive for Thanksgiving or Christmas. It has a few simple ingredients, of which is goat cheese, toasted almonds, honey, balsamic vinegar, and thyme. So we're going to be mixing up some of those, and you bake it in the oven and serve it with some crackers or something of your choice, and it's wonderful.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Well, let's get started. I can't wait to do it.
Okay, that's great. Let's go.
Okay, go.
What we're preparing today is going to be a simple goat cheese and fresh cranberry appetizer. So what I have here today to start with are 2 cups of fresh cranberries, which will be blended with a 1/2 cup of honey and 2 tablespoons of red balsamic vinegar. The other ingredients to this will be 1/3 cup of slivered almonds, which we will toast in the oven. And I'm going to put them on this plate and toast them now. And you just want them to be a light golden brown color. The other ingredient to this is some dried thyme. A tablespoon will be blended together. And what I'm going to do is very simply put the fresh cranberries into a mixing bowl. Then we're going to add the honey. And while you're doing this, basically what we're going to do now is we're going to add the balsamic vinegar. And what we want to do is we want to just coat all of the cranberries with this mixture, and we're going to let them marinate for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to set them aside now, and I'm going to check on my toasted almonds. So I have the toasted almonds there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop up roughly the almonds. And what we want to do is we're going to set those aside because half is going to be incorporated with the goat cheese, which I will now take the 10 ounces of the goat cheese crumbles. So the goat cheese is now in the bowl, and what we want to do is add half of those slivered toasted almonds. Now this is going to take just a couple of minutes. Goat cheese is a very soft cheese, so what we're trying to do here is incorporate the toasted almonds that we have in there so that it goes throughout all of the goat cheese. And then once we get it a little bit warm and all together, we're going to kind of form a ball, a little flatter than round, so that it'll then look like this. And now what we're going to do is simply put it in a pie plate. Deep dish works best. And then we're going to sprinkle the balance of the toasted almonds on top. I now have the honey, balsamic vinegar, and the cranberries together. I'm going to add the dry thyme. You can use fresh thyme. Fresh thyme will give it a little bit different flavor. The dry thyme will be a little stronger, so you might want to add just a little bit less. Now that we have everything incorporated, we're going to simply take the cranberries and we're going to sprinkle them around the outside of the goat cheese, like so. Make sure you get them down in the side. And you can see what a beautiful color this is, especially for the holiday season. And I'm going to move that over there. And now simply what we want to do, this is not the finished, but finished prior to going into the oven. We're going to bake this at 350 degrees for between 20 and 30 minutes until the goat cheese is lightly browned and the cranberries are soft. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so now that our appetizer has cooked for approximately 25 minutes, the cranberries are tender and it's ready to come out of the oven. Now here we have the finished product, which you can see, it's so beautiful with all those cranberries bursting and the goat cheese is lightly golden brown. So for any of you folks out there who'd like to have an easy holiday appetizer, this could serve well at Thanksgiving as well as at Christmas, and maybe treat yourself some other time of the year.
This looks and smells amazing, Lisa. It smells like Christmas.
It does.
I think it's the thyme that's mixed in with the cranberries that make it smell so good. So, what type of wine would you suggest serving with this?
Well, I think this is a pretty hearty appetizer as far as some bold flavors going on. Today we're sipping a little bit of Pinot Noir, which is a lighter red. However, I do believe that this appetizer would truly stand up to perhaps a Malbec or Merlot, something a little bit heartier.
I can't wait to try this. This looks wonderful.
Well, here, grab a couple pieces of toasted bread and let's dig in.
Yum! There you go.
Thanks. Go for it.
That's right. Okay, so want me to just grab this or do it with a knife? And I'll get mine. Oh, this looks wonderful. Yum. Lisa, this is delicious. It's like Christmas on a plate. So thank you so much for having us.
And thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad to have had this time to share this with you.
Oh, wonderful. So thank you, Amy. Thank you, Lisa. We really enjoyed our visit at Castle in the Clouds. This is Tara Hughes Duffy and Bucky Lewis. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
So good.
That was wonderful. Hey, cheers.
Cheers to the holidays.
That's right, to the holidays.
Fatigué d'entendre tout le monde me dire comment respirer, comment je devrais agir. J'ai envie de retrouver ce que j'étais, tout ce que je voulais devenir, retrouver la sainte paix, juste une bonne fois pour de vrai. Oh ouais, embarque ma belle, je t'emmène n'importe où, on va pêcher du bois.